Warm greetings and welcome to today's edition of the Nigerian Leadership Series of the African Leadership Group. My name is Itua Ighodalo, and I'm happy to be here with you today. And we have a very, very special guest today, a gentleman that I had a conversation with him maybe last week or the week before. And it was so inspiring that I said, Oga, please, you have to come to the African Leadership Group and let's talk about some of these issues. Our subject today is Nigeria, the conversation. Nigeria, the conversation. So we're just going to be talking about Nigeria, what Nigeria stands for, what we have been doing with Nigeria, and what we want out of Nigeria. Our guest holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Nigeria and a master's degree from the prestigious Imperial College of Science and Technology, London. That's wonderful, Imperial. And a PhD from the University of Salford in Manchester. I suspect he's probably a Manchester United fan also, but we'll find that out later. Over 30 years of corporate business experience, and sits on the board of several companies and a member of several professional bodies, including the Nigerian Gas Association, the Nigerian Institute of Management, and the Nigerian Society for Biotechnology, and the editorial board of the Nigerian Digest, amongst others. He used to be a lecturer at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he attained the position of professor. Okay, he's deservedly known as the gas man to the core. Went into the gas business, and he has made him and his wife and his board, which I'm a member of, actually chair that board, have made stupendous strides in the gas industry, and they are about to, we are about to do something really remarkable in terms of LNG and gas distribution and storage in Nigeria. Is a winner of the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, West Africa 2014 award. Please welcome with me, Professor Joseph Ezigbo, Managing Director, Falcon Corporation Limited, and Executive Chairman, Falcon Gas Limited. Prof, you are most welcome to the African Leadership Series Group, the Nigerian Leadership Series, where we talk and talk and talk about Nigeria, and we do various things concerning Nigeria. We've been doing quite a lot of work over the last few weeks. Our community engagement program has kicked off in earnest, and I think Olu Victor from the back end may have a report on that, which we'll present maybe later on in the program. We'll just take a short pause to let people know, towards the end of the program, to let people know what we've been doing in terms of community engagement, in terms of the Itua Ighodalo entrepreneurship classes, and in terms of our Solaj, which is the training of people who wish to find themselves in leadership or politics and political development. And also we work a lot with the diaspora. The entire vision of the African Leadership Group is to encourage and ensure that there's good leadership in Africa, starting with Nigeria, which is our home base, and spread it to Africa, and also to try and play our role in educating and informing people about exactly what is going on in their various areas, and then have a potpourri of suggestions that we can use to help support, complement, or sometimes even castigate any government that's in power that's not doing what we think is appropriate. So, Prof, you are most welcome, and I'm happy that you could make it. Is Prof there?
Is there? Let me look for him again.
I can't find him. And Olu, do you have the report on the community development initiatives that we've been doing?
We do. We do,
and
sir.
Any other report?
We do.
So put it together so that at the appropriate time you can present the report.
Okay,
Prof has escaped.
Yeah, he's back in now.
Look for him
Prof
and
is
catch
back
him.
in now.
I can't find him. Okay, he's just coming in. Akinwale Ogukwa, how are you? Okay, Prof. Sorry, I don't know where you left off or what you heard last, or what you heard me say last, but I introduced you and then asked you to just shout out and greet the people. So you can unmute yourself, or Olu, please make sure you can unmute, and then we want to begin to ask him questions.
Prof, please unmute and speak.
Please call him to see if he's having difficulty.
Okay, I'll do that right away.
Because I know you did a test run, and the test run seemed to have worked quite well. I think he's gone off again. Maybe he's having problems with his connection. So let me see. Sonny, are you there? Can I have a piece of paper also? Yetunde Macaulay.
Yes, Pastor, I'm here.
Sonny, which part of the world are you? Are you back in Lagos?
Yes, I'm in Lagos.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk later.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
To take the report now.
I beg your pardon?
If Olu is ready with the report, maybe they can go ahead before.
Yeah, maybe if he's ready. Olu, if you are ready with the report, maybe you can give it now, and then if we need to repeat afterwards, it'll be nice. Yetunde is here. She's on the platform. Maybe she has first-hand experience of exactly what happened. But if Olu has a formal report, should we look at that quickly, and then I can talk to Yetunde and see what she has to tell us. Is Olu there?
Yes, I am here, sir.
Are you ready with your report, or should I just...
Okay, we have discussed with Yetunde. We are thinking of showing it after the maybe after the introduction of the guests, after the first half. If you want us to show it now, we can start it now. I think Prof is back in now.
Was he having problems or what?
Yeah, it's not. I think his network is having issues. So he should be able to unmute now. Prof, can you please unmute now? While we are waiting for Prof to unmute, Yetunde, can we go on with the report for today? the report on the community engagement.
Yesterday too is not there.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm just trying to put up the PowerPoint slides that I have, but I'll just give a brief intro into it, and then maybe I'll show the PowerPoint later because I'm still trying to put it together. So we sent letters to. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead. I can hear you anyway.
Good evening, everyone, once again. Yeah, so we sent letters to 3 NYSC counties: Lagos, Oyo, Oyo, and then Abuja. We got positive feedbacks from 2, that is Oyo and Lagos. And then we were invited to come educate the UCO members. Their orientation is going on. I think they're rounding up today, yeah. Oyo was yesterday and Lagos today. Oyo, we went all the way to Iseyin and we met a lot of youth corpers excited to learn about ALG. Unfortunately, a lot of them will not be able to join today because they had told me, even in Lagos, they told me when they asked of the time, I told them 5 o'clock, but they said they will be on the campground. They're going to be having a parade at 5 o'clock till about 6:30 today because they're rounding up. I think it's the same thing with Oyo. Some already sent in messages. So hopefully they're going to be joining us next week. A lot of them, they were initially in Lagos today. They were so excited to hear about the programs. They wanted to know, in fact, some of them asked for more, but I said, oh, some of these programs we're not doing them. Like they wanted to know, oh, leadership programs. Some were like, okay, generally School of Leadership and Governance. Yeah, they had a lot of interest in that and they would like to come on board. Of course, a lot of them, they have, they're already giving up on Nigeria, yeah, but we just had to encourage them, and then they began to, think about. I was so excited to see a lot of them coming because I was today we spoke last, and a lot of them came towards us. They wanted to know, oh, is that the last? Oh, were you the last person that came on board to speak? Okay, we would like to know about ALG. We would like to know about what you have for us. We want to know about the leadership program. In fact, that's what many of them were saying, even though some came for, we want to know, is there tech UI UX program that you guys offer? Another came that, oh, I've been part of ALG before and things like that. So they are very, the interest. Can you hear me? Am I still on?
Go ahead, go ahead.
We can hear you.
Okay. So they were really interested, and I think the form, Stella, is over 100 NYSC members already filled the form. We created a short form just to get their data. So as at yesterday, we had about 90 something registration. I think not up to 100, it was about 92 thereabout registration. So today they already started filling, even though some had challenges with the link that was shared. Some are already sending messages via WhatsApp that, okay, they would like to have the link so they could, register their data online. So I think that's what I have for now. Some also asked today that, okay, do you have a physical office or can we come around? I said, except you're going to come to VI. I told them, okay, trainings, if you want a physical training, we have some holding in, on the island, but majority of our trainings are done online. Yeah, they're done online. But that, okay, we could come up with a small arrangement for them around here, like if they are willing to come around together. So some of them are willing, some of them are, some of them wrote down their names and numbers. So we have some numbers, over about 40 people. Yeah, because it was during their break period, so they all had to leave. Majority of them left. They were tired. Yeah, so we're the last. They were already tired by the time we started talking to them. They were really tired, but some could just come around to get the number, and then some were able to drop their WhatsApp numbers. So we got about 40 something WhatsApp. Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but it's over 40. So the plan is to reach out to them via WhatsApp. So we're going to.
Can you hear me?
I think that's it now.
Okay, Prof, we can hear you.
We appreciate it. And on that note, you may please have your seat. Thank you very much for honoring me. God will honor you too. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed Youth Corps members, I bring to you greetings from the Africa Leadership Group, Tri-Empowerment Africa Foundation, and Pastor Itwa Igodalu, who is our president and chairman. I want to say a very big thank you to the SIDE team for giving us this platform to engage with admirable leaders like yourself. Please give yourself a round of applause. You can't be tired though. You cannot be tired. Who believes here that he or she is a leader? I'm a leader, please raise your hand. Wow, some people are not even sure. I'm a leader, please raise your hand. Okay, I pray that which you have accepted, you will have, and you will do well with it by the special grace of God. All right, so we are indeed impressed by the SIDE team's unwavering commitment to leadership and transformative and difference. So as young emerging leaders, each one of us has embarked on different in this nation proud by the special grace of God. Amen. So, as young leaders, each of us has our beloved country. Who believe that Nigeria is our beloved country? Our beloved, I believe that Nigeria is our beloved country. We are not going to get tired. We are not. Are you going to get tired? Are you going to get tired? I will make impact. And I will do great things in this country and for this country. You're not saying it. Yeah, please. Huh?
Thank you very much. That's the end of the report for now. And Prof is back online.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a little issue with my computer, but everything's okay now.
Okay, no problem. Maybe the computer didn't have enough gas inside. Not
Right.
enough Falcon gas in the computer. All right, good to have you back. I don't know where you left off. I had introduced you.
I didn't hear a word.
Okay, well, you know who you are, so I don't need to introduce you to yourself.
No problem.
And the whole world has heard who you are.
Yeah.
So first of all, just tell us, I mean, there's something interesting they don't know. It's not part of the thing, but you fought in the Civil War. I
Yes,
want
I
you
did.
to share that experience.
Okay, I was in the university. I was doing my second year at the University of Nigeria when the war broke out, and I was working on campus at Nsukka at that particular point in time because I was doing a vacation job with one gentleman who worked in botany. He's from Europe, and then he was working, and also he had some expertise, military expertise. So he stayed back. He took a few of the students and was trying to show them how to handle and shoot a gun and how to maneuver in the field. Then Nsukka was disturbed. They started shelling Nsukka. We left Nsukka and came to Enugu. When Enugu was about to be disturbed, I left Enugu and went to Umuahia. It was from there that I joined the Biafran Army, trained at Ehioma in Olu. I was eventually, I came out as the best marksman in my company. And I was shifted to the war front at Onitsha. I fought at Onitsha for 2.5 years before the war ended. And we came back and then back to the university again, where we met. Then we were using doors and bricks as seats, and also using blocks with windows on top of it for the bed. And then we did our 10th year, and then did a final year. I graduated and went to the UK, went to Imperial College, and then did a master's, went to Salford University in Manchester. I did a PhD and came back immediately, 10 days after I got my PhD, to start lecturing at the University of Nigeria in 1977. So that was my
Wow, 1977. You said you were using?
Come again?
You were using dollars and bricks to make seats, or what did you say?
No, you know the doors. We place blocks under them and then put the doors on top, and we use that for our bed. We use that even in the classrooms.
Are you serious?
Yes.
There were no seats.
No. They were all broken and used for firewood by the Nigerian soldiers. They really vandalized everything on campus at the University of Nigeria. So we had to start from the scratches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what was it like on the war front? You were shooting and shelling every day, ducking and diving?
We had tunnels. We had tunnels all the way from the express road back in the road that goes from Nnewi to Onitsha, and we dug tunnels from there to the war front. We now have parapets from where we engaged Nigerian soldiers after laying Ogunigwe, 3 series in front of the parapets. And that was how we were able to contain the Nigerian soldiers, because when they come with their old Shebe and they move, they detonated the first line of defense. That took its toll, and then they will come back again. By the time you release the second set of Ogunigwe, the whole place is quiet for another 2 weeks, 1 month.
Okay, they don't come back.
When you decimate people, what they do is that they go back to the group. And the Onitsha front was literally a Waterloo for Nigerian soldiers, because Onitsha didn't fall as such. When the war ended, they were coming from Port Harcourt to Owerri to now towards Onitsha to Nnewi. When the war ended, the soldiers were already in the Nnewi. The Nigerian soldiers were in Nnewi, and we were preparing for a first-line battle when we were told that the war had ended. We didn't know we were preparing for battle when some of the soldiers from the rear came to tell us the war had ended. By the time we moved to the TAC HQ, there was nobody. Everybody had gone. So we are really very lucky. It's not luck, really. I don't believe in luck. I believe in God's grace and His mercy. And that was what actually saved most of us. When we came back, I walked from Onitsha to Nnewi. From Nnewi, I trekked down to my village in Idemili, and I had my matson on my shoulders as I walked through. The Nigerian soldiers were already at Nnewi. And then we passed through. They will salute you, because then I had my peeps, and I had the Nigerian camel, and then I walked home. So it was slightly a bit peaceful before the takeover was really peaceful, except that the politics that was played later. reduced the entire thing to a laughable thing, because Biafra possessed things that would have made Nigeria great if only they were not in a hurry to destroy too many things. That was the problem, because we lost. When the Second World War ended, America benefited from the German scientists who were taken in to begin their war, their armory, and build it up. Other countries will do the same, but in Nigeria, no, because we like just to destroy. And then the entire thing, when the technology was destroyed, if we had since 1970, we would have put into use, get those young men then who actually thought a lot of things out, because we literally produced a lot of things from nothing. And with the war ending and opening up Nigeria, these were things that would have benefited Nigeria if only Nigeria settled down to utilize those things for the benefit of Nigeria. But no. But again, the point is that you thought you were hurting some people, whereas you are destroying the benefits you would have gained for the future, which has been lost totally. But happily, a few of the people who actually stepped back in the research centers in Biafra then to produce this, some of them are still alive today. And if only they can put them together, they can still, with the young men coming in the entire Nigeria, recreate those things. And that will be the beginnings of what is typically Nigerian. Because now we are a nation of importers, we import everything. And then because of that, we have no say really in what happens in Nigeria, because we depend on the outside world for literally everything. Everything. Toothpick we don't even produce because we don't have the machinery. That's why occasionally when they talk about local content, I laugh because that is a joke. We have redefined local content in Nigeria to mean Shell, Chevron, and giving contracts to Nigerian contractors. And then they will invite people from India, from China, from the US, from Britain, to bring in their technology. That's not local content. And each time I hear it, I go to conferences and they come up with this idea of local content. I laugh because it's a joke. What is really for me is a local content. Now that's what it should be. In India, when they started their local content thing, what they did was you bring in any item, they take they pieces it, and they start producing each of the various items slowly. The first time they did it was badly packaged, they said, oh, in India made. People are not buying, but today everything is bought from India. Same thing with Taiwan. They say, oh, this is Taiwan. Spare parts, they say it's Taiwan. People don't buy it. But now they produce the best motor parts that is available. How? Because they took overseas technology, threw them to pieces, and then reproduced them. But the beginnings for Nigeria, our Al-Jokuda iron and steel industry today is comatose. It has never worked for one single day. And that would have been the basis for our industrialization. That would have been the basis for production, manufacturing in Nigeria. Now, if you want to manufacture everything, you purchased everything. Nothing is Nigerian, absolutely nothing. And that's a shame. So as we sit here today, you cannot produce anything in Nigeria. We are a country who purchase literally everything, from toothpick to even ordinary slippers that the rubber companies can produce. No, because we do not have the mindset. I recall when Nsukka started at the beginning, when Zik started the University of Nigeria. Those were Ibadan, because they were the only college nearest to a university, they'll say, how can anybody say he went to University of Nsukka? It took just about 2-3 years before Nsukka became the in thing at that early hours of 1960. When it was now the vogue to get to Nsukka because it was fashionable, and everybody took exams to go to the University of Nigeria. So the point is that we actually need to go back into ourselves and ask ourselves the question, who are we? Where are we coming from? Where are we going? And the Igbo adage says, at the Okoko, if you don't know when the rain starts to beat you, you never know where it's going to stop. Because we don't think in this country. Nobody thinks. Everybody is busy acquiring. And to make it worse, corruption now came in because of poverty, because of hunger, and has become endemic in Nigeria. And unless that corruption is tackled properly, nothing will change. Look at Nigeria. It's undoubtedly the largest economy and the most developed country in the continent. But what are we doing with it? Despite these huge potentials, because potentials have rendered us useless. Everything is potential. When are we going to start actualization? When?
Okay, Prof, let me take you back a little bit.
Yes.
Let me take you back a little bit, and then I just want you to structure the conversation.
Yeah.
Number one, the Civil War ended. You've said that we lost time by not benefiting from the technology that was generated then. Is there any other advantage you have gotten from?
Yes, we learned nothing from the war.
We learned nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Instead, we destroyed.
So what do you think we could have?
You know, if you have built research
what
and production,
do you think we could have learned?
If we have built a research and production around the young men that built the Winigways, that converted jeeps into armored vehicles, that converted helicopters into flying machines with guns. If we have brought them together and then put them in one institution and give them everything available for them to develop further, our Ogbunigwe today would have been in vogue, if not in Africa, in the entire world. People would have benefited from it, because we built flying Ogbunigwe. Not just stationary Ogbunigwe, we built flying Ogbunigwe. And you can send a couple of meters away, 100 meters, 200 meters. The gentleman who did it is still alive today. It's an old man. But we lost it. We destroyed everything. Thinking we have defeated the Igbo man, so destroy everything. Not knowing that when the Germans were defeated, the Americans and the British and the Russians, they didn't destroy anything. They took what was essential, took them home, built a place for them, and they started the beginnings of a production facility that have not grown. Now they can fly to the moon. They can go anywhere. Where did it start?
So would you say that our leaders were ill-advised? And then again, in terms of reparations, in terms of peace, in terms of reconciliation, in terms of assuaging feelings. And even today, almost 50 years after the end of the war, it still seems as if Igbo people have not been fully reintegrated in terms of leadership into Nigeria. Do you have anything to say about that?
I think this is fear, Nigerian fear. That if you do that, it's because they have been wrongly tutored, especially by the British, that is still running this country from far away England. They are still running. If you don't, you are in trouble. Before any election, they gather in the UK, they take their decisions, they come back here, they empower who they want to empower, and they put you in power. And that's what you can do about it. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we rarely have elections, we have selections. And because of that, for people to be selected, they spend the billions of naira and dollars chasing after the people in charge of elections, chasing the judges, chasing everybody that will put them there. And when they get there, they are not there for Nigerians, they're there for themselves. And they want to make money by all costs to pay back, to put back where they borrow money from. If you don't have a dime in Nigeria, you can't stand the elections. Nigerians won't even they boo you out of the place. And if they're going to boo you, out, then how are you going to serve the country that didn't put you in power? That's the problem.
So what do we do? And you made the question that British are still running the country. What exactly do you mean by that?
You see, because all our interests, everything we do today is aligned to their interests, not to Nigerian interests. If we did things to align to our interests, where is our Jokuta steel mill? Which is the first thing that should give us the ability to manufacture. It's the basics for any manufacturing concern. To build the parts, to put them together. Today we buy everything. In the iron and we buy stations, literally everything, bulbs and valves, pipes, everything. None is made in Nigeria. Nothing. So we need a situation where, because the moment they see you doing what is right or what might save Nigeria, that's pressure. Good policies are turned upside down on their heads because they need to suit the masters. So that's why we're still where we are.
So what do you think Nigeria should do to get out of this situation? And if you were president of Nigeria, what would you do?
You know, if you make me president of Nigeria today, it's going to be a tall order. And I'll tell you why I say it's going to be a tall order. It's not because one does not have the capacity or the capability to enunciate policies that can guide this country. But who is going to carry it through? That is the point. I'll give you an example.
Who's going to what?
Who is going to carry it through? That was Nigeria had control of itself. Nigerians are good followers. They can obey laws, they can obey everything. But you need to get them in a position where they could do that. The only person who tried it once and succeeded was Buhari Idi Amin regime, when Idi Amin was truly in charge. there was understanding immediately amongst people. You would not come to a place where you're supposed to queue and people must have. No, everybody queued on the line. Again, because at the beginning he shocked Nigerians. And when he shocked Nigerians, there was hue and cry from the press, but everybody was whipped into line. And Nigerians became one cohesive, obedient nation. What happened? In a short time, they were thrown out. But we were hailing them when they were thrown out. When they came in, when they were being thrown out, it was mixed feelings, but nobody could do anything. Because we've become so docile. We're led through that docility to a point where hunger and want now stepped in and decimated whatever thing we learned from there going forward. I pity the government. I feel sad for the government because with the best will in the world, there's absolutely nothing you can do when everybody in the country is hungry. And because they're hungry, there's nothing you can tell a hungry man for him to listen to you. And that's why corruption has been so entrenched. It is an endemic, institutionalized disease that the entire Nigeria is suffering today. And until we are able to get ourselves together, be it by massive education, orientation, or by a leader who comes in, asserts himself. Because one thing is clear, if a leader comes and asserts himself, Nigerians will follow him, they will hail him, and they will protect him. But then the cabal holding Nigeria hostage, what are you going to do about them? Because the interests are so much. Look at the Northeast. Northeast has been a den of killings. Every day, 10, 20, 30, 40 people are slaughtered. That we have become immune to it. When we hear it now, it's no longer news. Everybody's walking away, like the proverbial when they carry the corpse of somebody else. You say, oh my sheo, they carry, but when it is your own, then you cry. But you see, it has become that for a generation of Nigerians to such an extent that I said to myself, my age grade and the ones after us, we've undermined the youths. When Gowon or Ojukwu were in power, they were 20-something, 30-something years of age. Before then, when Balewa of blessed memory, Zik, and Awolowo were in power, how old were they? Today, you will not even find a 20-something-year-old, a 30-something-year-old, a 40-something-year-old near the seat of power. No. Because we made it impossible. They are the ones with the bright ideas. They are the ones who can take chances that can take us out of the mess we're in. But no. Because suddenly, like you come to my village, a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old man is regarded as a youth. I find it funny. And I tell them, why do you people call these old men youths? Because the youths really, young ones, the 20, 25-year-old, 15, I mean, from 18 to 25-year-old, who should actually answer the youths and be able to do things that youthful people, they are denied access to it. because they see those positions as an avenue to suck Nigeria, to really suck Nigeria dry. So they won't allow them there. And to get there, the youths would not be able to find money, but they, the older ones, can. You know? So somebody is saying here, yeah, I agreed, that Buhari didn't know what he was doing, but he didn't know the implications, but Tinubu understand. Yes, the people surrounding Buhari knew, they understood, but they were handicapped. They were completely handicapped by corruption. In all the regimes up to present day, we still have not been able to find a solution to corruption. Can you tell me one good reason why in a country like Nigeria, the poor man on the road is hungry? Some people are buying cars 160 million, and they actually justified it. And we simply sat down and found justification, and the man in the street, well, what can you do? Because they're hoping that by tomorrow, is either by stroke of chance they get there, or their brother gets there, or their sister gets there, then they will see their chance to have a cut of their own national cake. So Nigeria subsequently becomes a no man's country. Doesn't belong to anybody. It doesn't even belong to the Hausas, nor the Yorubas, nor the Igbos. No. Individuals are now governments of their own. And that is why you can steal money and steal money for yourself, your children, your children's children's children, to about the 6th generation, because you are afraid of them going home. But you forget that you are doing one thing to them. The moment that happens, they become useless. If you don't have any problems to solve, your mind stops working. Law of use and disuse. You can't help it. That's what happens. Law of use and disuse. The moment you are unable to put your thinking caps on, what happens to you? Mentally, you degenerate. Mentally, you die, because you rely on the resources that have been made available to you. That is what's been happening in Nigeria. And we're so greedy. But because Nigerians, you think, oh, they're so quiet, they're so gullible, they're powerless. No, it's not that. Empower them today and you find out what Nigerians can do. But what is happening is that each person has faith that tomorrow will be better. You go better. That's our credo. But in actual fact, is that correct? The answer is no. I remember we used to teach it. One of the things we lost was history. We no longer can learn from history. We no longer can learn from history. Because you take away, you ask a child today, you show him a picture, but you ask him, who is Balewa? He doesn't know. A child from the south, from the east. Ask him, go to secondary schools, who is Balewa? They don't know. They never heard of him. How can a country without a history ever move forward? Because we learn from history. History repositions us to be able to learn Where have we
Okay,
made a mistake?
what do we do? What do you think, Prof? What do you think
Yes.
we should do to put our country together? What do you think we should do? We know what all the problems are, and this is
Yes.
where we are now.
Yes.
A leadership death, ungoverned spaces. You say there's a cabal running Nigeria, and they're more interested in British interests. All these things. Now, this is where we are as Nigerians. This is where we are. This is the reality of our situation. Here we are 200 and something million people under this sort of captivity and all that. What are the practical things that you can do, I can do, a group of people can do, the citizens can do, young people can do, the lawyers can do, the soldiers can do? What can we do as people of Nigeria? What would you advise us to do to get us out of this situation? And the so-called cabal or the political leaders, don't they know that the British influence is still heavy upon us and all that? And so what can we do? What are the practical things we can do moving from here to try and solve this problem?
We know, and the Bible tells us, that information, knowledge, does what? Sets you free. That's the only thing. For us to be free, there must be massive education. You remember the French Revolution, where Madame Defarge, one of the traders in the French market, they have documented a list of all the rich people, and they sat down in markets with the guillotine. They were reading names, not judges, not lawyers, not doctors, but educated market women. And we were simply chopping off people's heads until they learned. And France became free. But nobody is advocating that for Nigeria. What it means to prevent that sort of thing happening, we need to massively educate our people. You see, what is important is simply this. Each and every one of us, we are change makers. Each and every Nigerian. If we're able to teach everybody to understand that he is the change that Nigeria needs, everybody. I will give you an example. I know a company called Falcon in Lagos. And I believe, sir, you know that company as well. They will not.
I think so.
And they will not, repeat, not go to the government for approval, put in a document, and then somebody says, oh, and it stays there for 6 months, 1 year, and you go, somebody says, oh God, the boys are tired. And I will ask you the question, why are you there? If you're not satisfied, why not leave? If you are paid a salary and you think it's not enough, then complain. Don't take it out on your fellow Nigerians because they're not the cause. But you delay those documents, and eventually, they say in Igbo, when you hold a child's thing up, it might be easier at the beginning when you raise it up, but eventually, law of gravity sets in, it becomes heavy, and you bring it down. And learn to say no. And let your no be no. The moment we're able to inculcate that into Nigerians, and then for us to understand that Nigeria is worth fighting for, is worth dying for. Once we have leaders who will say to themselves, I'm prepared to die for Nigeria. 3/4 of our problems would have been solved. Because those leaders will be leaders. They will lead by example. People may have put you there. People may have led you there. People may have spent all the money to take you there. But you get in there and you say no. They say do this, you say no. Because whether you like it or not, there's no law you can pass in Nigeria today that will suit an Hausa man, suit the Yoruba man, and suit the Igbo man at the same time. But there are laws that cut across the population for the greater good of the people, not for anybody, not for any individual, not for any group, but for Nigeria. The moment we have leaders that are able to implement that, palliatives and throwing money here and there is not the answer. It will not help us. We need to. We have not gotten to the bottom of the entire thing. These are again palliatives. That's what we're doing. Palliatives never solves any problem. It will cost government money to truthfully carry out massive education of the people. Because when the people know, as long as they know, they can tell you, no, we can't do this. You can't go about it this way. The older the people are, the more difficult it is to change their attitude. The younger they are, the easier it is to bend to change their attitudes. Let us please remember our youths, not us. Everything is us, 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 us. What has happened to our young men of tomorrow who will inherit Nigeria tomorrow? Where are they? So we'll keep it and keep it until they also as well grow old. And when they grow old, they become like us. We need to change our ways. Corruption can only be cured when people are properly educated and they know that what you cannot steal what is yours. The moment you begin that is disaster. You cannot steal what is your own. You work for it to be equitably distributed. When they start vandalizing pipelines, they rush there, they give them things, and they withdraw and they wait for tomorrow. That's not the answer. When there's no rice in the system, you bring 60,000 bags and you sell it to Nigerians for 10,000. What happens? Those that are able to get it, take it back to the market and sell it for 50,000. Do you blame them? The answer is no. Because why? They're hungry. They want to fend for themselves tomorrow. God taught the Israelites in the wilderness. They took man, they wanted to hold it. The next day, he couldn't eat it. It was rotten. He couldn't, because God gave us our daily bread every day. You cannot hoard.
Okay, Prof. Thank you so much for your passion is palpable. Your desire to turn Nigeria around is palpable. Yeah, I used to say that I'm ready to die for Nigeria. Then people say shouting blah 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 blah. But we're going to take some questions now, and I'm going to ask Pastor Sonny to take the questions and answers. I think we have a hand of Charles Obi. His hand is up. He wants to ask. Okay. So, Charles, can you unmute yourself and ask your questions? And Sonny, please take it on from here.
Okay, Pastor. So, Charles, unmute yourself. Olugbenga also. Charles, can you unmute yourself? Okay. Olugbenga has unmuted. Olugbenga, you can go ahead first, and then we'll take Charles when he unmutes.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, nice chat, sir. So basically what I want to say is that it's not a question. I just want to say one or two things, basically. So if we start talking about Nigeria from today to tomorrow, we won't finish. So my point now is that one, I've said this at the last discussion, that the democracy we practice is that of interest. We don't have leaders that are sincere and have the interest of the citizens at heart. That's just the truth. And the second thing I feel is that we don't have a president that has the willpower. Not that the presidents don't know what to do. They know what to do, but do they have the willpower to carry on? The answer is no, because you'll find out that most of our presidents, they dine and wine with these people. And there's a saying that says, who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So that's where I see it. That's the angle from which I see it from. Do we have a president that has the willpower? That's the question I'm asking at this point, because I've not seen anybody. The closest I've seen is during President Obasanjo's time. After that, I don't think I've ever seen any other president that has the willpower to go after these people. So that's just my little contribution.
All right.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, sir.
With the best will in the world, assuming today, because if President Tinubu today goes to the Senate and tells them, gentlemen, I need you to cut your salaries in the interest of Nigeria. Cut all the allowances off in the interest of Nigeria. You know what's going to happen? Of course, they will say no.
Definitely.
They will say, and if they say no, what is he going to do? Nothing. Nothing. Because even if he tries to impose, they will sit down, organize cliques, and vote of no confidence will be slapped on his face.
But sir,
yes,
there's something I've noticed.
Yes.
With this crop of politicians that we have now, I can say categorically that almost 70-80% of them are corrupt. And
please. 70-80% of them are not corrupt.
Okay.
The entire Nigeria, starting from a baby born today to right now we're talking here, they breathe in corruption. And because they breathe in corruption, it is endemic. It is in their system. It's flowing in their blood. It is in their blood. Go to the street. Go to the street. If you ever try, ask anybody you see on that street and ask him. You say, it go better. And ask him, what does he mean truly, it go better? People who can articulate will tell you that tomorrow it might be my turn, might be my brother's turn, maybe my sister's turn. That's all he's waiting for. And that has permitted down to the kids in primary school. Go to primary, just ask them questions in primary school and get their answers.
Okay, sir.
These kids contribute money for their teachers. Tomorrow, ask them, will you be a teacher? They will tell you no. What do you want to be? A first politician. There was a time during my time when I was in primary school. You asked children, what do you want to be? Lawyer, doctor, engineer. Not anymore. In the university, before I left University of Nigeria and retired, as a student, in my class at Nsukka, there were about 4 girls, there were about 30 of us. 4 to 6 girls, and the rest, 24, were boys. By the time I came back to start lecturing, it was 50-50. By the time I was leaving, you go to a class of 30, 28 girls and 2 boys. Because the boys were out there, all, well, how can they get money from the next person? 419 became the order of the day. And it has not left us. One, they don't have responsibility.
Yes.
And because they don't have responsibility, there's nothing you're going to tell them. But give them responsibility when they are not thinking immediately of my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and then put the fear of the Lord inside them. They begin to change. But then, remember one thing, changing is not even the issue. The powers that be would then let them change. Why is Africa so destabilized? Because they prop up a puppet who stays in power, takes over. The moment anybody who has the capacity to change it comes in, is murdered, is killed. Has any of us stopped to ask ourselves the question, what happened to Idego? As those of us on this platform now, let me ask, have you ever asked, or do you know what happened to Idego? Anybody can anybody tell me?
Okay, Prof, let somebody try and tell you. Let's take more questions.
Let somebody tell me.
Let's take more questions so that you can address them together. Yes. We have quite a few hands and we'll be going off soon.
I know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8.
Yes, we'll take 3 so you can address them together, whether they are questions or comments.
Yes.
Charles Obi, are you able to unmute yourself now? Fumi, Ajayi, Tomori, and Juliet. I will take those 3 in that order. Anyone that is able to. Okay, Fumi, go ahead and ask your question. Juliet. So I'll take Fumi first, and then I'll take.
Thank you, sir.
Juliet.
Okay, I think I just.
Okay, Charles.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, this is Charles. Yeah.
Okay, Charles, just give Fumi a minute. Let her go ahead, and then you come after.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I think from what I read recently, I understand Ide Agbon was killed. Professor, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you so much.
And then my own observation. I like it that you mentioned that after the World War II, part of the Marshall Plan was getting the Germans to go over to US, and they helped them to even the bomb, they helped them with it and so many other things.
Yes.
Now, in recent times, some people have been talking about Marshall Plan for Nigeria. And we also talk about the cabal. Most of the people in government, past and present, are members of the cabal. Some people have then suggested, is it possible? And it's possible. Just let's take a dream for a bit. That President Tinubu comes up and says, look, you people, I'm giving up 90% of my assets. Everybody coming, because all the information is in EFCC. They are in the files. The people have stolen all these bits and pieces. Calls everybody around. You know, people say, is the thief that knows the tracks of a thief on the rock. If we can get that, believe you me, if we have this Marshall Plan, it can jumpstart the economy, because more than $1 trillion have been stolen. If only about 500 billion is recovered, we can jumpstart this economy for all the programs you've talked about: education, agri, healthcare, infrastructure. Because with $500 billion, we will raise much more money. If we clean the the stables of all this ugliness, we will get foreign investment and local investment to confidence. What do you think?
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just hold that. Prof, I hope you noted that. Let me
Yeah.
take Charles Obi and then Juliet, so that you address those three, because we have quite a few hands. Charles, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir, for your presentation. I think I will join my chorus with Pastor Itwa, and that is the problems of Nigeria are very well documented. I think we're at a point now where we need solutions. I want to say, sir, that I humbly disagree with you that the people with the solutions are just the youth of Nigeria. They are only part of the solution. I think that people like you also have some contributions to make. And so we are at a point in Nigeria where we cannot continue to use religion to say, well, God will do it and God owns it all. No, God has already done what God is going to do. He has put people in Nigeria, people that have the ability and the, if you will, the capacity to solve the problems of Nigeria. What we are doing as a people is we're not accepting responsibility. Don't go too far. We're not accepting responsibility for the mess that we have caused. So the question becomes, how can we, what would you recommend that we do differently to make sure that we don't continue to go this way? When you say Nigeria, just real quick, when you say Nigeria is 100% corrupt, I think what you have just put your finger on is that a lot of our corruption is being enabled by our cultural practices, by our cultural values. What would you recommend that we do differently so that the baby you were saying earlier is corrupt? What would you recommend that we do differently so that the baby, by the time they turn 5, 6, 7, they get to high school, they are no longer adopting this particular behavior that we have today? We are enabling this behavior. We are sponsoring it. It's not just the cabals. We have become part of the cabal without knowing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Femi. I think I can take Juliet before Prof will respond.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, the amiable president. Now, Nigeria has been facing economic challenges these recent times, with many people finding it difficult to meet their basic needs due to the high cost of goods and services. Now, in the Labour Congress, they want to embark on a protest to call attention to the government concerning the hardship people are facing. My question is it that the government, our leaders, are they not seeing what the people, the cry, are they not hearing the cry of the people? Why do they need to draw the attention to it? Are they not seeing it? Now, another one, with this issue, the issue of protest, is it going to yield a good result? Now, I thank you, Sarah, because you start when you're doing the introduction, you talked about resources. Now, Nigeria is endowed with rich resources, which I don't know whether the government.
I've lost you.
She's still there.
Talk about the government. Then do the needful themselves. Can they locate where the resources are? Then maybe liaise with the government of that state that has these resources, and then work with them, and then by so doing, increase labor, help citizens by creating job opportunities, and then helping to boost the economy of our country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Prof, I'll let you take those questions. Then I'll come back to this last four. which
let
will
me
be the
just quickly
last
take
four we
this.
will take.
Let me quickly take this. Let me
Okay.
start from the last speaker. Does any of us here know why the issue in the Northeast is not abating? We've heard stories of the planes, cargo planes that leave Northeast every night. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven. Every night. It's been documented, but who has mentioned it? Nobody. So we know where the minerals are, and we know what they are. But you know that the corruption thrives in the midst of confusion. That's why Nigerians will always throw confusion in to ensure that nothing can be done. You see, until we are able to massively educate our people, hunger will be our bane. And as long as there is hunger, you can manipulate a man who is hungry. He will easily sell his birthright. He will sell his vote for 1,000 naira because he has a son at home that is crying, "Daddy, food, Gary," and they can't give the Gary to the child. And then you tell him to obey a law, because you make one law in Nigeria, the next 10 days, Nigerians will give you 10 different ways to break that one law. And they will break it effectively. And again, the man who maintains the law is hungry. He has a wife and children at home and are crying for food. You have workers that come to work and you pay them salaries that cannot take them home. Yet they come every day smiling. And it's okay for Nigerians. It's okay for the government. Of course it's not okay. It's not okay. Because again, they know next to nothing. We need to invest money. Somebody asked a question here, if the president today will give out 3/4 of his wealth and ask other Nigerians to do that. Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to kill him. And the Nigerian will say, "Oh, Masheo," and that will be the end of it. You know what I'm afraid for us, this country? I'm so afraid of one thing. And I'll just say it here. Even last time I said, people are telling me, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. I said, listen, I'm not advocating it, but I'm saying, look at the toll gate saga. It was spontaneous. Some people started saying, it was planned. Who planned it? How many of the people that were raised from the streets that protested? Where were they when the planning was going on? It was anger. Then the worst thing you can do is to quell a people by force and force them to retreat and catch a few people and give them palliatives. And you think it's like a saw that you have. Then you're able to build a skin, and then you cover it up, so it looks normal in the surface, but inside it is insidiously. The infestation continues unabated until one day, when it blows open that piece of skin you put on top of it, the bone is rotten. You need to cut off that leg. That's what normally happens. Can we all just, for 1 second, please, paint a picture of what will happen one day if in a rush hour in Lagos, the Third Mainland Bridge is filled up with about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 cars on either way. And the hoodlums cutting off the beginning and cutting off the end. And then burn the first 10 cars, burn the last 10 cars. What's going to happen? Everybody will jump out of the car and jump into the sea for safety. Because we Nigerians are cowards. Everybody wants to save himself. And that will be the beginning, that ignition, that spark that burns the forest. And you and I, nobody is safe because you are the bourgeois. I'll tell you a story. I was coming down from Port Harcourt and I stopped at Ikeja. And I saw a young man dressed up in suit. And he walked up and walked down, came towards me and I stopped. I said, he said, "Good afternoon, sir." I said, "Oh, good afternoon, sir. Can I help you, sir?" And then he was wearing dark glasses in the hot sun. I thought it was the sun. Then the young man started to weep. He was crying. They said he has trekked all the way from his house to the Ikeja to see if somebody could give him 1,000 naira. And his wife is at home. The children are at home. There's not even a cup of garri for them. I looked at this guy and tears came into my eyes. I gave him 10,000 naira. Quickly go home and then eat. That was for that day, for that moment, for that second. How many of such people are walking the streets of Lagos? How many are walking the streets of Abuja? Walking the streets of Port Harcourt? Walking the entire streets? How many of them? You know, Nigerians are so elastic. We are so malleable, but one day we think it's not possible. This cannot happen, not in Nigeria. The army is there. But you forget that the army also have hungry brothers, hungry fathers, hungry sisters. One day you ask them, point a gun, and they will look at you and laugh. The police, you come in, we have trained a force that has become professional beggars. You drive past, okay, we are here for you. You are there to do your job. If they are well paid, they will do their job. And then, you see, the problem of Nigeria is very easy. It's really very easy, but who will bear the cat? The moment we have Nigerians who will say, even the hunger, let me die. I will not sell my vote. Even if you are my brother, but I know you don't have the capacity to rule, I will not vote for you. I'll look for a man who is capable and I'll vote for him. But that is still far-fetched. We're still a long way from there. Can we have a leadership that can say to Nigerians, enough is enough. Develop Ajaokuta. Develop Ajaokuta. Because minus Ajaokuta, all this, that will not stop us from being a nation of importers. Because we don't produce anything. We can't even produce because we don't have the wherewithal. All the machines for producing what we have initially today are brought in from overseas. Look at the way the Naira is dancing in the rain. And we think it's okay. Today, the dollar is 1,500 Naira to the dollar. And I sit back most time and I ask myself, when I came back from the UK, as a lecturer one, my salary in the university was 700 naira a month. And I would take the 700 naira, come to Lagos from Nsukka, buy a return ticket, go to London, buy goods, and come back. And I have a change of 250 naira. I'm still living in that same naira when dollar was 40 kobo. The pound was about 90 kobo. I spent my naira in the streets of London. And they were eager to take my naira from me and sell close to me. Today, a lecturer's 1 year salary wouldn't be able to take him to London and bring him back. But why do we even want to go to the UK? Because I tell myself all the time, the day our leadership said to the world, the problem of Nigeria is not money, but how to spend it. This was a Nigerian leader that came out publicly to say that. When Nigeria was still Nigeria, had a few respect of the world. America, Britain, France conspired together to teach us how to spend their money. Then, unfortunately, the Udoji Award came in at that point in time. That was the saddest thing that ever happened to Nigeria. As a young lecturer then, suddenly my salary rose by about 10 times. And our appetite increased correspondingly. And our economy was completely battered and bastardized. Then slowly they made sure we didn't have the iron and steel. And NSF was well structured, a country came to Nigeria and cannibalized our Ajaokuta and cutted away the equipment to their homes. I was sat in Nigeria and didn't raise a voice because the few people were given money to keep quiet, and they kept quiet without thinking of the implications for Nigeria in the long run. Today, all we can produce, we produce rods from wreckages. They smelt it and draw rods for us. That's what we can produce. The flat sheets that we need to manufacture things like cars and any container is done by sheets. Gone. Cannibalized. Sold and taken away. Because we were too wise. We needed the money. So we sold the company. We sold our heritage. We sold our birthrights. And today, no Nigerian is talking about the Ajaokuta steel mill, which is the basis for industrialization. It's the catalyst that can give us industrial explosion in this country. But what has happened? We gave it out without a thought. For the lucre, sadly, for a mess of pottage. We took away our history so that Nigerians can learn nothing. We took away knowledge from the people and gave them peanuts and showed them how to make easy money.
Okay, Prof. Thank you very much. I don't want to get the impression that Prof seems to be saying that, there's nothing we can do, because even when you try to give some solution, you go into highlighting the problems again. But let Ola and Pastor Funke Awolowo and Femi Olowe weigh in on this. They may have a comment or a question for you. I think Olugbenga has spoken before.
Yes.
So I would go, if that hand is a new hand, I will take it last. But I can see Pastor Funke Awolowo is unmuted. Go ahead with your question. Then after that, I'll take Ola, and then I will take Femi Olowe. The three of you in that order.
Okay. Good evening, Prof. Thank you for that very deep and enlightening lecture. A lot of revelation came out of that. But I'm of the mindset that after reparations of the war, a lot of bad blood were not cleansed. Hence, what we had in America when Lincoln had the famous speech to release the slaves, and it was being said that it was too little, too late, and it was really not for that. But hence, and that is what we have in America today. The rate of people, blacks who are killed by whites, remains undisclosed because there's too many. And we can all trace all that to unforgiveness. I feel, Pastor was asking, what can be done? First of all, we need a united Nigeria, where true reparation, true forgiveness of the flaws. For example, I'm from the Awolowo family. I've had very close Igbo friends. And when we discuss politics, especially history, we ended, some of my friends I met in Oxford when I was doing A-level, we stopped talking to each other because first of all, like you said, a lot of this history we were not taught in school, and I had to learn some from friends. The day she was saying, "Awo took Ogboroko from us," first of all, I didn't know what was Ogboroko. So, I had to go back. When they say somebody sent you back home, I had to go back and find out. And I feel a lot of that is like we swept a lot of things under the carpet, saying divided we stand one Nigeria. And, that is still trending. Look at what happened. I belong to the Labour Party. Don't ask me why or how, but, people confront me, say, you're Omale, Yoruba land. And, things that should come out of intellectuals is not coming out. The tribalism is strong, it's deep, and we really, for Nigeria to go forward, that is uppermost. And we're seeing, Labour Party right now, what is happening is that we are being strangulated by tribalism, and now I have friends who say, Obi cannot take over Lagos and all that. So it's deep and it's real, and we need to confront it. If not, we will not go forward. Secondly, I remember sharing some history with my sons, and they were thrown because, I gave birth to them in England. When we came to Nigeria and they saw where I lived, and it wasn't resonating with, how we lived in one little flat in England. And I had to tell them a whole lot of history. And I saw the effect on them. So, I would recommend that each and every one of us open up to our families, our children, and let them know. And we must tell the story from an objective point of view so that we don't pass down that bad blood, what I call bad blood tribalism, to them. The result of that, I have a second son who was at 24 or 25. He was running for House of Assembly and all that. He was talked out of it, but I saw the way he just felt so comfortable in it, and that's traceable to the little history I told you. So you see, we need, like you said, you're right, we need to resuscitate our history and make sure they're in the schools and the colleges, but we must avoid passing down hatred into our children. And there are many things I want to say, but I see that there are other people that want to ask you questions. But, like I said, spiritually, forgiveness is very strong, and it will help Nigeria a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, please, for the rest of us, let's just keep it short. We are already run beyond our time. Just go straight to the point, 30 seconds, ask the question or make the comment, And Prof, you will just take it briefly. We are supposed to end at 3:30, but we are at 3:35 now. So we'll just quickly round up this. Ola, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Prof. Good evening to everyone. I feel one of the problems we have is the church. Recently, I saw a pastor that went to Abuja for a program, and you see him in the Rolls Royce, a convert of Rolls Royce. What do you think that congregation would think those that do not have the wealth, to do? Also, it's a community thing. Families today, you see a man that steals billion and his son says that he steals also still trillions. So everything involved, what Prophet said is, it's within us. We have to start individually. When I go into the buses or, on my street, you see people throwing things on the floor. And you say to them that this thing you throw on the floor is bad, the gutter and blah, blah. They will come and, they will insult you, even when you want to educate them that this is wrong. So how do we, that's why I understand when Pastor said that Prof, we want to, we'll bring a solution in, and also we'll look at it from, can we solve the problem of this country? Because the corruption has eaten deep into the even unborn child. Once a woman conceives, that's what I tell my friend, that child is corrupt already because the parents are corrupt. Agberos are all over the place. They are the one that is making the money. You that you've gone to school, that you want to do the right thing, you can get the right thing done. So how do you solve it? And you talk about the cabal. I read a book about America, the men who build America. I don't know, maybe you've read that book, Prof. We need a president like that, a vice president that became the president and solved the problem. And that's why we saw Standard Oil was broken into Chevron and Mobil and some other conglomerates, into little companies. But how do we solve the problem of the cabal? How do we solve our own selves? Because every Nigeria has this mentality of get this syndrome of get rich quick.
Okay, thank you, Ola. Thank you very much. I take Femi Olowe. I think Prof is noting them. Ola, thank you very much. Femi Olowe, unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Prof, thank you so far. I just wanted to make 1 or 2 points. The first is this, just like Orosenye's report, I believe that some of us in this country, we have the blueprint of actions, steps to take to free this country. However, we have the short-term, medium-term, and long-term actions. But I want to say that, Prof, currently, as we have in Nigeria, and as we mentioned that corruption has really eaten deep into everybody, I agree with you totally and 100%. But then, I want to believe that if the civil society, civil organizations, if we all come together and agree on certain things to do, one of it is this: prevent whatever government of the day from sending money to individuals' accounts, citizens' accounts. It's a way of buying votes, either now or in the future. Another point is this: civil society needs to come together and start educating the common Nigerians, citizens in the country from now, that they should not take money from any politician in the next election. Because what do you expect politicians to do? Somebody who spent 1 billion naira or more to settle the delegates at local government level, at state government level, at federal level, at state and federal level, he settled the delegates. He has to settle people at his ward, at his local government, as his constituency, as the case may be, to, at the end of the day, be qualified to contest, and at the end of the day, to finally win the election. What do we expect them? It's business. He will want to make his money back. So therefore, when he gets there, he does not have the interest of any one of us. He doesn't have the interest of anybody. He just wants to make his money back. And once he sees that making that money is a good one, then he will want to make more than what he has spent. So I believe if we start educating people now, not to take bribe or money from anyone vying for any office, you will find out that a lot of people will come out. Somebody like me will come out who have no money to spend. And then if we get in, we can be so sure that instead of running after, our selfish interests, we will be able to, do what is okay, generally okay for people. And I also want to say that the civil, they call it civil public servants now, not civil servants. Just as you mentioned, that is where the corruption is. I want to ask Prof, what do you think we can do? Because if you go to local government, if you go to state government, the public servants there, you will find out that even when they build estates or shopping complexes, or they allocate land, you find out that more than 50% of what is being allocated, they allocate those things to themselves, and politicians will take the rest. People are not benefiting. What do you think we can do to go to this public service to educate our people and change their mindset? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. A mouthful. Joe Idono, if your question is 30 seconds, I will take you. 30 seconds, sir.
Yes, it's 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Quick. Corruption has been established. The issue of the fear of being killed is also established. But my question is this. Given those two premises, how did the Asian tigers overcome them? Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. So, sir,
yeah,
you have
let me just start with the last one, because that's quite interesting. How did the Asian tigers overcome it? Commitment. Because they have when Mahatma Gandhi won back India without raising one finger. He didn't fight anybody. But he fought and defeated the British in India. Why? The divisive theory of the British didn't work in India. The Indians, as far as you know today, still wear their native dresses even to work today. They still eat their food today. They still speak their language today. In Nigeria, we don't have a common language. We still have the North, the East, and the West. And that is the way our masters left us. And in doing that, remember, you see, that's why history is very essential. We've lost the benefit of history in this country. History would have told us about the amalgamation. How were they put together? This thing called Nigeria. That is whimsical thought of a woman. Niger area that became Nigeria. At the early hours was 3 countries in one. But for economic and political reasons, they were welded together. Who became the leader was very important to the British. And they selected their leaders, empowered their leaders, made sure they have permanent governance over everybody else. By the sort of numbers that was put across by the census. What has happened to us today? Even with the best will in the world, elements from that quarter will not be allowed to raise their heads. And what has happened? They have kept Nigerians in check. The first question, how do we break out of this check? It will take dispassionate, honest people to say no, be able to muster enough intelligence. You see, just coming out and shouting. Lumumba did that, and what happened to him? They killed him. The Belgians killed him like a common criminal. How many leaders in Africa, how many have died? Abiola died, was poisoned. What did Nigerians do? Idegbo died, poisoned. What did Nigerians do? Because when they carry somebody else's corpse, and it's not your king, it's rubbish, you don't care. Do we understand that we owe it as a duty to this thing called Nigeria? No, nobody's a Nigerian, no. Nobody's even Hausa, nobody's Yoruba, nobody's Igbo. We have now been reduced to a point where we are our own government. Each and every one of us is his own government. They see Nigeria as the big cake, and they can cut off a little bit of to assuage the hunger of that self. And when I say self, he talks about himself, his wife, his children, his children's children, and he now thinks to tomorrow, his children's children's children to the 6th generation. So he is willing to do anything to this country called Nigeria to ensure that that his government, or that his country, survives for the next 100 years. Who suffers? Is Nigeria, or the so-called Nigeria. So nobody thinks like a Nigerian. We don't have Nigerians. The day we have Nigerians, that day our problems will be solved. Because we'll have people who will say, it's not what can Nigeria do for us. What can we do for Nigeria to make it right? So that our children will benefit from it tomorrow and the next tomorrow. So that remains a fact, that the only thing that can save it is massive education, massive orientation. But do we have a government that be willing to spend money on a massive enlightenment for a people that might become an albatross to them? That is the point. You must have somebody who is selfless and willing to devote time to have the people educated. Bring back history. We're talking about it. Who has the courage to bring back history into Nigeria? Who? Was it cancelled by Nigerians? The answer is no. Our masters, knowing the effect it might have in the future, ensured it was cancelled and has remained cancelled. We'll just make lip service and nothing can happen. When you say teach people, who are you teaching? A hungry man in the classroom is no use to you because he will learn nothing. A hungry man who has a child weeping beside him, that man that met me at the airport, that I gave 10,000 naira. What are you going to tell him about education? Are you going to tell him, what are you going to talk to him about? Because a hungry man is basically an idiot. A hungry man is basically thoughtless. A hungry man is so afraid of his shadow. When you stare your child at home and is crying bitterly because there's no food, and you can't explain it to him because he can't understand. He's looking at you, Daddy, I want akara. Because he expects you to provide it, and you can't. and you look deep into his sunken eyes and see the fear and the hunger. And you tell the man who is hungry, think. Think about what? So there must be a system where if Nigerians can tell themselves the truth, we can salvage Nigeria today. Today, as I'm talking now, we can salvage Nigeria. If we expect those in the House of Assembly to help us, zilch, there's nothing they can do. Why? Because you cannot pick somebody who can barely read and write and put him in the House of Assembly in Senate to make laws for you. What law can he make? What does he know? Absolute nothing. Because he's not even educated. So we need to streamline a lot of things. But that's always, they say the journey of 1,000 kilometers starts with the first step. Our first step is to educate our people. If you educate people, they're able to start doing things for themselves. If we go into a town, find about 10, 20 people each with money that will educate the masses, those guys that walk the streets or the villages, snatching handbags from women, set up little foundations to ensure that you take them out of them. If it is 100,000 naira, you give it to them. Give it to a few of them. If it those that will buy yam, go to the north, buy yam, come back and resell it, and go back again and buy, they are busy, they won't steal. If people did that for their people and not hoard the money. When God created us, he said to us, for those of us who have the wherewithal, I've not given it to you for yourself, because if you keep it, it will mess you up and mess your family up. You are only a custodian for God's children. That's where salvation is for each and every one of us. I must go home. We'll listen to this, and you say to yourself, when you go to bed at night and you want to go to bed, you ask yourself, how many people have I put smiles on their faces today? That's the first question you should ask yourself. How many people have you been able to put smiles on their faces? So we must ask, let us begin. All of us here in this group, let us make a decision. Now, when we leave here today, we'll ask ourselves, how many people are we able to put smiles on their faces on a daily basis? How many people in our villages can we empower? No one way or the other. They don't want millions of naira. In fact, they don't even want thousands of naira. The women who have little children at home, 10,000 that they buy vegetables and we sell. 20,000 that they buy groundnut fried and sell. They're able to send their children to school. Your teachers who are teaching sell handouts. That was part of the reason why I left the university, because I couldn't sell handouts. Take your students the way you would take yourself. That we have commercialized the education in the university. A BSc comes to your office for interview, and they cannot string two straight sentences together. And he will brandish a BSc certificate in front of you. That's Nigerians. They'll go overseas and they say, where are you from? Medical doctors fail to pass exams in the UK. There was a time when they sit down for an exam. When I went to Imperial College, the About two of us are from Nigeria. The others were all whites. We had just finished the war. But when we had exams, they didn't find our marks. That was when Nigeria was Nigeria. That was when Nigeria was respected. When men were men and women knew what to do with them. Not anymore. But we need to get back there again. But we need to educate our people of the need for them to do that. It's going to be difficult. Because it takes a while for a hungry man to be taught. But a lot of people understand that you start the orientation, massive orientation, but we must liberalize a lot of things. The subsidy, whether it is there or not there, is really a hoax, because it doesn't even, but Nigerians don't even know what is happening because we are ignorant. Because the people that know don't want you to know. Because if you know, things will change because you'll be angry. But we're even too hungry to concentrate and find out what is happening. Or when they tell us what's happening, to internalize it and look at the meaning and be able to do something with it. We have intelligent Nigerians. Go to the UK today. The best engineers, doctors are Nigerians. Go to Eurocare, go to Europe and the rest of them. Doctors fly in from London, they fly in from Canada, they fly in from everywhere. Cardiologists, urologists, you just name it. They're all based out there. They come down here and clean us out. To see one of them, you're paying 80 or 100,000 naira for consultancy. Because they know you need it. And because the people have made money in all sorts of ways, they take it from you and you pay. But who are they? They're Nigerians. They say in Nigeria, the people don't recognize their own. Like Christ came and they killed them. So also in villages in the east, you'll be in a meeting, doctors, professionals, and idiots from Onisha Market will come and tell the group, I'll close down whatever this guy has said with 1 million naira. And that's the end of it. Whatever you said is rubbish. Because they are eager to get your 1 million naira. They take it, and that's whatever you said is rubbish. Whatever your contribution is a mess. So mediocrity is the order of the day. Mediocrity. So we need to wake up as a people. We need people from the north, from the west, from the east, that can begin to speak out against the injustices. Let us become the lone voice in the wilderness, crying and shouting. It will fall on deaf ears, but slowly, some of them will fall onto fertile ground, where they will take root, germinate, and bear fruits. And those fruits again will scatter. Some on dry ground, some on a small soil, some on fertile soils, and will slowly galvanize them into action. And they can say no because they understand, because they know, because they have knowledge. Well, as they said in the Bible, get knowledge, get understanding. and you'll be set free. And once you are liberated, you are liberated. You can't go back. Nobody can calm you down again. You can say no to your masters, to the surrogates of Nigeria. Because that's the people we're suffering from. The surrogates. The masters have done their job and they've gone. And they've selected a few people who see themselves a privileged class to show that Nigerians, the rest of us, don't see the light of day. But by the grace of God, we'll come out of it. I believe in Nigeria as a person. You won't catch me anywhere else except in Nigeria. Take me out anywhere. 10 days, I'm homesick. If you don't bring me back, I'll be sick. In my illness, people in the plane, the moment we cross the Sahara Desert and enter Lagos, and that heat of Lagos hits me, I will be well. It's like a soothing balm that I'm home. There are so many Nigerians that way. So many that want to stay. Every day, they go overseas and they suffer. Some of them carry rubbish. They spend 2-3 years. They come back with 10,000 pounds. Today, 10,000 pounds is what about how many millions of naira? Millions of naira. And then they foolishly throw the money around, play the big man, entice other Nigerians, and they go back. And the rest want to Jakba because they think they're in heaven. The deception is too much. We must talk to our people. Those are being dehumanized everywhere. And the green passport of Nigeria has become rubbish. And they will insult you. Who the hell are they? Nobody's. Except that we have delivered ourselves into their hands. We made fools. But is there hope? There is hope. I tell myself all the time, if it doesn't happen in my time, it will happen in my children's time. If it doesn't, it will happen in my children's time. But is there hope for Nigeria? There is. Because there are still voices everywhere. But those voices must be coordinated. Those voices must understand what they stand for. Because a lot of people just make noise and say, you pray. God has given you gifts, which you put under the bed and covered with the mattress. And then you kneel down, you are praying to God to give you that same thing He has already given to you, and it's under your bed. It's a wicked waste of your time. Look for it. Get your knowledge. I'll tell you one thing. One of my partners from the UK came in, spent a week. On his way out to the airport, he said to me, Joe, do you know one very funny thing? And if you stood in Nigeria with a dry walking stick, long enough and patiently, that dry walking stick will absorb water. Absorb water, develop roots and bear fruits. Dry walking stick, that was the way he described Nigeria. That the streets of Lagos are paved with gold. But God has given us individualized implements to pick our own type of gold from the streets of Lagos. Do we know what those implements are? Our gold, is it there? Of course it is there. But we need to find the implements ourselves to pick up those gold from the streets of Lagos and make use of it and develop our country, Nigeria. Let us start by making a law that anywhere you are, you're a Nigerian. You can vote and be voted for. Same as applicable everywhere. But the powers that be are masters who practice in their country know the dangers of bringing it to Nigeria because it will give us knowledge and give us freedom. That's why, but because I remember in those days where an Alasamam was the mayor for Enugu. He was elected. Nobody thought, is he Hausa? Is he Igbo? Is he Yoruba? He was a mayor. He was an Hausa guy. He did a good job. Can we do it today? The answer is no. Let us rethink. Let us change our mindsets. Let us go back to the basics. Let each of them become a teacher for himself and for Nigeria. And by the time you talk and talk and talk, it will begin to seep through, no matter how long it will take. But will it seep through? Yes, it will. But it must be a conscious effort. And that's why particularly I'm so happy today I'm talking at this platform. I keep thanking Pastor Ito Igodalo, but I say thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your foresight. Thank you for putting this platform up for people to air themselves, have Nigerians throw questions at them, and let us propound the theories that will save us. Not out of mere lucre, not out of how much you're going to get out of it, but because of your interest, because of your love of country. Let us give ourselves voices. Let's multiply those voices. Let us do that, ladies and gentlemen. And we can take back this country called Nigeria away from the powers that be, not in Nigeria, powers that be outside Nigeria, and tell their surrogates, let your tail go between your legs and run away from Nigeria. We can take back what is ours and grow Nigeria. Even though I said I dislike the word potential, because potential simply means that we will never get there. Even Nigeria with potential, this potential, when do we actually achieve something? We're not just a country of potentials. We're also going to be a country for actualization. Pastor Ito, I don't know if there are further comments or questions that we can take.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think at this stage, I'll call in Pastor Itwa to give his either closing remarks and then ask you to make your closing remarks and generally close the session. Pastor.
You're still muted.
He will come up now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, Prof, you've done an awesome job and you've spoken like a professor and you've spoken with passion. I think you are the only one that the Nigerian heat heals when you are ill abroad, but maybe there's two of us too. The only thing is that when I start to fly over Lagos, I begin to feel the heavy spiritual warfare going on in that atmosphere, and the prayer starts. But like you, honestly, I can't spend more than 10 days outside Nigeria. Although these days, when I take my kids abroad, we spend almost 2-3 weeks because of their holiday. But prior to that, 5 days, 10 days maximum. In fact, mine was about 5 to 6 average. I'm back so that we can continue to contribute our quota to this great country. My prayer is that we find 1, 2, 3, 4 people who will be really sacrificial, like you have mentioned.
Have we lost you?
Who will be sincere and who would like to fight the battle of Nigeria. I think if we can find those people, Nigeria can truly change. And we'll look for them. And please let me know also. And you and I will be taking the conversation a bit further. Thank you very much for coming. I want to thank all the guests that you invited. I saw a few of them on the platform. And we look forward to a truly great Nigeria. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And Nigeria will be great again. Let me thank everyone that came on the platform today. And all those contributions and all those questions shows the amount of passion that we have for our great country. Let's keep it going. And let me thank all the ALG people for all the great work that you're doing. And especially for the new thing that we're doing concerning engaging the people. Is our own attempt at informing them and letting them know that there's possibilities in Nigeria. We should avoid corruption completely. Thank you all. God bless you. And God be with us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you all. God bless you, Prof. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.